Hello, everyone here. My name is Irina, and today you will be hearing about my mother-in-law, Sue. She is your typical monster mother-in-law from hell, who was dead set to remove me from her son's life. Did her plan work? No, but she tried hard. Since you guys love mother-in-law stories so much, I thought my story would entertain you a bit. Also, if you ever find yourself in a situation like mine, my story will tell you what to do. So, me and Emmett, my now husband, dated for 4 long years. We met through a mutual friend, and the rest is history. He is a great man and equally handsome. I was surprised to see him single and didn't know what was up. When I started to date him, I knew why he was single. He did give me a small warning. He said, "I want you to meet my mom, but I'm not sure. Don't get me wrong, Irina. I'm sure about you and about us, but not my mom." "Why, Emmett? What are you so worried about?" "She won't react positively to our relationship. I don't want you to get this wrong. It's not like you are the wrong candidate or something. Mom just doesn't like when I bring a woman home." "Seriously? But you are past 20 now. Why would she have a problem with that?" "Well, I grew up with my mom alone since my father left before I was born. My mom just fixated on me a lot. It makes her jealous to see another woman in her life." And that was only a small warning, which didn't even come close to the real deal. God, Sue was a mad woman. I don't even know how to put this politely. She is absolutely insane. When Emmett finally took me to meet Irina, she didn't talk to me or even look at me the entire dinner. It was really embarrassing and awkward for everyone. Emmett tried to include me in the conversation, but Irina just ignored me and changed the topic. She was stonewalling me. When I asked her something directly, she would stay quiet and talk only to her son. That woman was determined to show me my place. Emmett apologized to me 1,000 times after leaving the dinner. He did it over the phone since he had to drive his mom home. Did I mention that he lived with her? Yeah. Sue would pull health scare stunts and cry a river whenever he wanted to move. My poor husband was conditioned to put his mom over everyone else and didn't have any other choice but to stay back. As we moved forward with our relationship, Sue started to become even more hostile. She kept telling Emmett to break up with me and all kinds of shit. She even blackmailed him when I asked him to move in with me. I could write a novel about her antics. I put up with her horrible behavior because I loved Emmett, and he loved me too. But things got worse after I married Emmett. On my wedding day, Sue walked up to me and said, "Don't be so happy, Irina. This marriage will not last a year. I will make sure of it." "What? What are you saying, Sue? Who says things like this at a wedding?" "I don't care about your stupid wedding. You will never steal my son away from me. I can promise you that. I will make sure this marriage dissolves, and then I will have my son back where he belongs." "Emmett loves me, and I love him too. Don't you want your son happy, Sue?" "My son was perfectly happy with me. He didn't need you in his life. I don't care how you managed to trap him, but you won't be here for long. I won't allow some woman to take over my son. I am and will be the only woman in his life. I hope you remember that." Her words made me cry on my wedding day. As if this wasn't bad enough, she also cut up my wedding veil and threw out my flower bouquet. It was a disaster, but I and Emmett still got married. Emmett tried to get his mom to apologize, but that apology never came. What was worse was the fact that we had to live in Sue's house after the wedding. On my wedding night, I cried to Emmett and said, "I can't do this, Emmett. I love you and really want to marry you. I want this marriage to work, but I can't stay here. I can't have Sue in our lives." I'm so sorry for my mother's mistakes, Irina. You know I am the only one she has. I cannot cut her off. Please understand my situation. Sue will make my life hell in her house, Emmett. Can't you see that? I will be miserable here. I already am. I promise I will figure out something about the living arrangements. I won't let you suffer for long. Please, just give me some time. Emmett assured me that he would do something as soon as possible. He did keep that promise. Within 3 months, Emmett took a job opportunity in another country. The pay was exceptionally good and he decided to take it. Sue wasn't happy and threw some major tantrums. But she calmed down when Emmett said that she could come and visit. He flew out soon while I was all set to fly out to him after a month. Thankfully, that month, Sue ignored me a lot. She never talked to me and did her own thing. I thought that maybe I could have a quiet month before I leave for good. I would worry about Sue coming there later. Well, fate had other plans. It was just a few days before my flight was booked to my husband's country. I had a strange feeling when I saw Sue sneak into my room. She thought that I wasn't looking or even in the room. I was actually in my closet with the door half closed, so she couldn't see me, but I could see her. Imagine my surprise when Sue sneaked into my room while I was quietly packing my stuff. I stayed silent and observed what she was doing. When I saw Sue reach my bag of documents and take out my passport, I was immediately on alert. She took my passport and happily left the room. I came out of the closet and tried to make sense of what I was seeing. Well, I went to the living room to find my mother-in-law discussing her evil plan with a friend on the phone. I was shocked to learn what she was about to do to my passport. I quickly went to her room and saw my passport lying in a black pencil case. Something came over me and I took out my passport to replace it with hers. Then I went back into my room and called Emmett. I said, "Your mother has just tried to burn my passport, Emmett. She came into my room and took my passport. She thought I wasn't there, but I was in the closet packing my stuff. I overheard her plan when she was telling a friend on her phone." Whoa, what are you saying, Irina? Mom tried to ruin your passport? This can't be true. Oh, God, it can't be true. This is true, Emmett. I wish it wasn't. I have my passport safe with me, but I replaced my passport with hers. I wanted to give you a heads up about it. My mom can't do this, Irina. I'm sure she'll be back out. Why don't we find out? I will make sure I have proof. In that case, I will make sure she never stays in our lives. I knew that Emmett would have a hard time believing the truth. It was his mother, after all. I didn't blame him, and I knew I could prove everything to him. Sue liked to boast, and she would spill the beans to me to make me sad. It was only a matter of time. I made some plans and quickly packed my stuff. I was waiting for an out to leave this place for good. The next morning, Sue seemed to be in a good mood. She was cheerful and kept giving me smirks. I knew that this was the time to use her cocky behavior against her, so I sat down and said, "Hey, Sue, have you seen my passport anywhere? My flight is in 3 days and I cannot find it anywhere." "Ah, your passport. I think I know where it is." "Oh, really, Sue? Thanks for finding it. I must have misplaced it. Can you give it back to me?" I already knew where my passport was. I was just baiting her. I wanted her to spill the truth about what she was going to do to my passport. And Sue took the bait without even being suspicious. She looked at me and laughed at first. Then, with the meanest voice she could muster, she said, "No, I can't, Irina. I have destroyed your passport so that you cannot live with my son in another country. It had been burned to ashes. Now you will be forced to stay here while I go and have a good time helping my son build his life there. Things will be just like they were before you came into the picture. Oh, really, Sue? You think it will be that easy to remove me from my husband's life? Have you forgotten the fact that I am not his girlfriend anymore? I am his freaking wife. Divorces happen to a lot of people, Irina. Not all marriages are meant to last a lifetime. It will be easy for me to get rid of you now. I will be around Emmett a lot of times, while you sit here unable to do anything. A few months in, I will be able to convince him to leave you. Then there will be nothing holding us back anymore. This time, I won't allow him to bring in worthless people to replace me again. The way Sue had planned this entire thing was disgusting and amusing at the same time. She was so hell-bent on being the only woman in her son's life that she was ready to do anything. All this, well, she had been quiet because she was planning this whole thing. It's really impressive how fast she can come up with a plan to destroy my marriage and her son's life. She was confident that her son would listen to her and divorce me straight away. I can see why she would think that. I mean, they would be far away from me and I would be able to rarely visit. By the time I can get my passport back, it will be too late. It was a brilliant plan, I'll give her that. But there was a big flaw in it. She didn't even think about it, so I decided to enlighten her. I said, "That's a nice plan you've got there, Sue. I'm very impressed, but it is not going to work. Sure, you did destroy a passport, but—" "Oh, yes, you can always get a new one, but it will take months. I will just need a little time to convince my son. After that, no passport will be able to help you." "Why would I need a new passport, Sue? My passport is perfectly capable of doing its job, but I don't think yours can, though. So it looks like now you can't go live with your son." "Excuse me? What are you talking about? I have my passport and plane tickets ready. I will be leaving in a few days." "You can't do that if you don't have your passport with you, Sue. Meanwhile, I have my passport with me just fine." I pulled out my own passport and showed her. Yes, it was authentic and it was mine. I showed it to her but didn't let her touch it. I wasn't going to be that stupid. I let her see and watched as her face showed complete confusion. It was like she couldn't comprehend how my passport got back from the grave and was in my hands. She looked shocked and said, "Wait a damn minute. How is that possible? No, no, no. This must be fake. I destroyed your passport with my own hands. I made sure it was burned to ashes. This can't be real." "Unfortunately for you, Irina, my passport is in perfectly good condition. Not a single flame of fire has touched it. But I can't say that for you." "What are you talking about, Irina? My passport is also perfectly all right. Wait, I'll get it and show you." Sue went to her room to retrieve the passport. She left in haste and looked confident, but when she came down a few minutes later, she looked panicked and scared. She said, "What the hell, Irina? Where the hell is my passport? Did you steal it? This is not funny, Irina. Give me my property back. You can't do this to me." "I didn't take your passport, Sue, but I do know what happened to it." Tell me where my passport is. Tell me right now." "You burned it with your own hands, Sue. Have you forgotten the events that happened last night? You took your passport out, put it in the fireplace, and watched it burn. You looked really happy back then." No, 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 that can't be my passport. No, that's not possible. That can't be mine. I checked." "Yes, you checked when you stole my passport and took it to burn it. But in your haste, you forgot to check it one more time before throwing it into the fire. Thankfully, I knew what you were up to and quickly swapped my passport with yours. It was easy. You had it right beside mine." Sue looked like I had shot her in the chest. She clutched her chest and looked like she was about to have a panic attack. And I was in no mood to help her at all. She looked stricken with panic and fear. Sue also had tears in her eyes and didn't know what to do. She said, "You monster! How could you do this to me? Oh my God! How will I get to my son?" "Wow, Sue, it is okay for you to destroy my passport, but I am a monster because I replaced it with yours. That's rich coming from you. Also, I don't think you need to worry about joining your son anymore." What? What are you talking about? This is not over. I will get a new passport and tell my son what you have done. I will do everything in my power to make you pay for this. A replacement passport won't do you much help, Sue. I don't think your son would want you to come to his place anymore. Emmett would like to say something on this matter. I picked up my phone and turned on the call volume. Sue thought that I would confront her without having a witness. Well, that wasn't going to happen, of course. So I called Emmett and put him on speaker. I also made sure to tell him to mute the call while you turned down the call volume so that Sue doesn't know there is someone on the phone. And boy, it worked wonderfully. Sue went from looking angry to crying when she heard my husband say, "What the hell, Mom? What the hell did you try to do?" "Emmett, I just wanted to come see you. And look, your wife has destroyed my passport intentionally. She wants to separate you from me, Emmett." "Oh, no, Mom, that won't work on me anymore. She didn't do anything. You are the one who destroyed the passport, and you are the one who tried to ruin my marriage by separating me from my wife. Although I am surprised to hear that you think you can convince me to leave Irina. I love her, and nothing will make me divorce her." Sue knew that she had been caught. She was in a tight place with no idea how to get out of this situation, so she started to justify her actions, and oh God, her excuses were just hilarious. She just showed how deranged and crazy she is. She started to sob and said, "Emmett, son, you need to understand why I did it. She really does want to separate me from you. Do you remember how happy we were when it was just the two of us? She came and destroyed everything. You moved away to get away from Irina." "No, Mom. I moved away to get away from you. Everything was perfect until you started to mess up my marriage and kick Irina out of my life. I told you multiple times that I am happy with her. But no, your selfishness didn't let you choose your son's happiness over yours. What kind of a mother are you?" "Emmett, don't say that, dear. You're breaking your poor mother's heart. Irina is poisoning you against me." "Irina has been nothing but patient with you. You don't get to blame your evil deeds on my innocent wife. God, I don't know how you could do this to your own son. You know what? I don't even care anymore. Irina is right. I don't want you to come here. If you do, I will throw you out. I want nothing to do with you anymore." Hearing this, Sue started to bawl. She was slowly becoming uncontrollable while she begged Emmett to forgive her. She was desperate to get back into his good graces and started to make stories about how I was abusing her at home. Emmett knew that all those stories were bullshit and said so himself. My dear mother-in-law kept crying and pleading with Emmett not to do this to her. Meanwhile, my friends arrived at the door and were ready to move my packed stuff to their house. There was no way I would stay with Irina any longer. I would be gone that day itself. They started to haul my stuff into their trucks while Irina continued to bawl in front of the phone. Finally, Emmett said, "Irina, do you have your stuff out of the house?" "Yes, I do, Emmett. Don't worry, your mother will not be able to destroy anything of mine anymore." "Good. Now go with your friends and stay there till your flight. Leave Mom be and don't entertain her anymore. I'm hanging up. Call me when you are out of the house." Sue heard our interaction and started to panic again. She looked like the deranged woman she was. She said to Emmett on the phone, "Emmett, son, please don't do this. Don't abandon me here. Please forgive me." Stop, Mom, just stop. I don't want to listen to your bullshit anymore. Lose my number, Mom. I don't want to see you or hear from you again. I will be blocking your number on all forms of communication anyway. Irina will do the same, so don't try to harass her. Emmett, please don't do that. I can't even reach you anymore. I can't clutch your feet and beg. Please don't shut me out. Let's talk this through. We have done plenty of talking before, Mom. Not anymore. You are an independent woman who can live without your son, and I am an independent man who can live without his mom. We don't need to be in touch anymore. Don't bother. Emmett said that and ended the call. Sue panicked and ran to her own phone to try and call him. We took that opportunity to run for the hills. We all got into the truck and drove far, far away from Sue and her craziness. I called Emmett on my way and he picked up instantly. I said, I'm out of the house, Emmett. I'm safe. Don't worry. Thank God. I'm so sorry, Irina. I never should have left you there. Even if Mom had destroyed your passport and come here first, her words wouldn't have swayed me. I wouldn't have divorced you. You know that, right? Yes, I know that, Emmett. I trust you. Speaking of Sue, I take it that she is blowing up your phone? Yes, she is. Don't worry, she's blocked. And I am going to inform everyone in the family about her latest deeds. Trust me, everyone will be on our side. Just be careful for the next few days and fly here as soon as possible. I flew down to Emmett a few days later. My flight was exactly 3 days later, and I reached Emmett the next day. I was careful not to go out much and enjoy the peace and quiet at my friend's place. I couldn't take all my stuff to the new country, so I asked my mom to come and collect it. She would rent a U-Haul and take my stuff to her city. My friends were a big help and managed to keep Sue away from me until I left. Since then, Emmett and I were able to settle in just fine and were thrilled to start our new life. It feels good to be close to my husband after being away for so long. I will now tell you what happened to my dear mother-in-law. After I left her alone, she kept trying to contact me and Emmett, and we kept blocking every new number she bought. The extended family was already informed about her obnoxious behavior, and they all cut her off. I don't blame them. Who would want to keep in touch with a psycho like that? Anyway, Sue filed for a replacement passport and came to our country. But she doesn't know our address, so it was a waste of time. She did show up at Emmett's workplace and was escorted out by security. She threw such a big tantrum, and the cops were called, and she was promptly sent back to her country. She won't ever get a visa here again, so we will be free from Sue for a very long time.